Cool. Now it's working. Sweet. I had a bit of issue just before, and I actually wanted to just for those who get to watch replay of this, I just wanted to kind of highlight the week, and it was really just all about a recent video that I had produced, which actually showed 2 views for like the whole week, and it didn't change. So when I received a comment, I think it was yesterday, it was actually hilarious because the comment was something along the lines like, "Hey, bro, I just checked out that video and it's literally 2 views." So I think it got the 3rd view because of him checking it out. So it was, and the thing was, I was being transparent about that this could actually happen. And if for someone who's on their YouTube journey, if they come across a low view that's stuck at 2 views for the whole week, it's kind of something that I wanted to kind of talk a little bit more about, which is how do you handle that situation when you've got a view, low views, stuck for that 1 week on just that one video? Is it something that you get caught up in mentally? Or is it something that you can push past and continue to keep going down the track of what you're trying to do, which is to learn and grow through each of the videos that you get to produce here on YouTube? And for me, that's just part of the journey, because the difference was how much a week can turn around. There are a few things that I noticed that this week had quite a few more views than normal, which was pretty exciting to see. Like, oh, okay. So maybe there's a few things that I've tweaked a little bit more, which has probably piqued the interest of those that are wanting to just check out what it's all about, and really just trying to not build it up in any way where it's clickbaity, like, because I don't feel like I could do that kind of method. I don't feel like it's for me. And yes, I understand that people want to get the views, people want to get the subscribers, but dude, I feel like if you don't feel true to yourself on what you're trying to produce here, trying to add value to the viewers who've taken the time to quickly check you out and make sure that it's not all fluff and clickbaity, but more about if you've got something that they're seeking to find solutions towards. Like for me, as I spoke about the low views, I think I was more prepared mentally because the work done beforehand was actually through reading a lot of self-help books that helped me to mentally have the opportunity to adapt, have a like a mindset adapt. I think to if 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 that's a thing where you kind of can pick out the things that you can control internally. So within your own thoughts on how you feel is up to you. But anything that's outside of your control, like for example, I got 2 views. I can't control that outcome because that's outside of my control. But then inside, how do I feel about that? Well, I can accept that something I did wrong needs to be corrected and improved upon. So that's what I can control. How I think about the next time of what I need to do better, what I need to improve on, and to actually make it worth someone's time to click onto the video and see what they can take away from what they've watched. And if it's not worth their time, then and you're not noticing that, which can be the hardest thing that we don't get to learn about when it comes to recognizing failures. Most of us have always or maybe some of us, not most of us, but for me personally, if I failed, I felt like the whole world is against me. I used to feel like that many, many years ago. I was a perfectionist in everything I did because I grew up that way when I was a kid, with grandparents. Well, especially my granddad. He was I love him with all my heart. And unfortunately, he only had certain areas in his life that helped me throughout my own. Working hard physically, um, in the islands, and in the Cook Islands, we're not known as farmers. We just know that we work on plantations. That's what it was like for us. No one's like heading up to the farm. It's more like heading up to the plantation. Got some weeding to do. Got some planting to do. Got to feed the animals. That was kind of what it was like back home. So it's kind of similar, like heading up to the farm. And my granddad was the kind of guy who said he reminds me of a character from a movie called one of those TV series, Allo Allo, and it was I forgot the character's name. She would always call out to Renee, Renee, I will only say this only once, or I will say this to you only one time. Something along those lines. She had this I'll only say this once kind of phrase each time she said it. Well, that very same phrase was sometimes what my granddad used on me. He would always tell me something like, when you go to plant sweet potatoes, when you go to pluck tomatoes, or when you go to feed the animals, always would say, I'm only going to tell you this once. So I think growing up with that mentality was stuck with me throughout my life. And then every time I failed, I would always think the world was against me. And I'd always get up myself. And it would just linger for hours till people would tell me, look, mate, you're all right. It happens, mistakes happen. And I'd be like, no, it's not supposed to happen to me, man. I'm perfect in every way. And I couldn't accept it. So yeah, it took me years to get to a point of understanding that. When I did get to that point, started to read the self-help books. Like two good books to consider would be Limitless by Jim Quick and Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. Two books that kind of helped me along the way with my mental state, and then implementing exercises to also help me with my physical state, to look after the body and look after the mind. And with those two in sync with each other, get to look after the soul, something along those lines. But yeah, just kind of wanted to sum up that feeling of having low views. Is really like, how do you handle that situation? And if you can start to, even if it means starting now, to read these self-help books, those two books, I definitely recommend that. It'll help you mentally to think about the things that you can control within you, your thoughts, what to ignore and what to accept, what to learn from the failures and improve on each step of the way of whatever obstacle you go through in life. Doesn't have to only be on YouTube, could be other things too. So that's kind of something that I wanted to kind of highlight for what this week was like. And also the comments that I received from some of the guys who checked out some of the videos that I produced. I'm really grateful for the feedback, because I think that's also one of the key areas that is missing. If you're not getting any feedback or comments, it's hard to see whether you're making anything that's worthwhile anyone's time. And trust me, I don't want to waste people's time. I do want to actually try and produce the best videos I can. It's it's not just about, throwing whatever sticks and then continuing to just uh, figure out which one um, is the one, because it just takes a while to find what we really want to show to the world. More importantly, I love podcast shows. I really do enjoy that. I get to hear these different stories from different individuals and people that I meet along the way. Yes, oh man, I like, honestly, a couple that I met last week. I was happy to see if they could introduce me to other people who are in the same kind of boat with them, helping to provide food for the homeless. And I got to catch up with them today. And at first, I thought maybe they wanted to wait until next week. We could catch up. It was literally within about an hour's time, and I really had to just go off the top of my head, and ask them basic questions like, introduce yourself. Where did this all start from? Take us back to the beginning of what inspired you, that kind of thing, and just going off what they would tell me and share with me. But the coolest things was, and like, it was supposed to be only one guy, ended up with three guys that I interviewed today. Took me by surprise, but I kept thinking to myself, hey, it's just another challenge, mate. Yeah, happy to accept any challenges that come my way. So, and those moments that arise, it's how you step up to the plate and go, right, let's do this, Tar. You got this. And that's basically what it was like today. But one of the coolest takeaways from today's session, that all three of the individuals that joined me had such powerful messages at the end of at the end of their story that they shared with me. So I can't wait to put it all together in the next couple of days and hopefully get to do it justice. Share with the community here in Bundaberg where I am, and hopefully get to reach out to the community where they can kind of reach out if they want to help assist, because yeah, homelessness is really getting out of control, and sometimes it just, a simple handout is the stepping stone or the start to helping out humanity in one form or another. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be big. Doesn't have to be so many. It just has to be one. And that's just kind of my thoughts about what I enjoy doing when I do these podcast shows. I get to help these amazing people who do such great work in the community and help them get their message out there. But it's also to meet individuals who've experienced some of the hardships as well, that can kind of share their story, which really resonates with people who are doing it tough and struggling. Those are the ones I'm looking forward to catching up with, but I don't want to push it to a point where I don't want them to feel like no one cares, because everyone cares. It's just sometimes some people are just afraid to step out of that comfort zone and wanting to talk to someone or help them in any way. So, yep, that was just another highlight for the week as well, which happened today. And finally, to land with getting a call up from Toastmasters. If you don't know what Toastmasters is and what they do, it's a club that helps you to improve public speaking. It's one of the best things you can ever do, I reckon. It's something that helped when I was invited to attend a workshop on Friday. I was called on Tuesday during the week and asked if I could attend and help in assisting with evaluating the members that would be coming through to the workshop. I was at first nervous because I had, like I said, sure I mentioned it somewhere, and I just remember just stepping away. I had to step away because at the time life got in the way. Was almost homeless. I was lucky enough to end up at a friend's place who took me in till I could get back on my feet. And now that I finally got back on my feet, uh, things got a bit hectic at work, and it's like I couldn't get back to Toastmasters yet. Oh, at that time, during the times in the last 6 months. But since we're winding down the season, there's been some free time, which has made it easy to volunteer and assist in this Toastmasters event workshop, speechcraft workshop. And oh man, what an amazing day! Like it blew me away. It inspired me to get back into organizing speeches better. Now that I had that refresher to catch up with them on the first Friday and watching them, because when I got to share my story, introducing myself as part of the guys that would assist in helping out these newbies coming through, is exactly how I felt. You go through the door, you feel nervous as hell because you don't know what's going to happen, except that you got to talk in public in front of everyone. And it was a quite a good turnout. Like I think just over 20, 20 plus people. So really good turnout. And yeah, you just see it from the start. Like the first hour or two, everyone's nervous, shaking. The voices are shaking. Everyone's doing the filler words. I'm guilty for still continuing to do filler words, ums, buts, and so's, and ahs, ands. But here's the thing, that's exactly how I started, and to watch everyone else go through that process, I was yeah, was it just brought back memories of when it happened to me, walking through that door, telling them. But then, oh, before I go off track, I just wanted to get back to when I had the opportunity to share my story and tell them about what it was like for me 2 years, or just over 2.5 years ago, when I was in the exact same position as them in one of those seats. I too was as nervous. I was a nervous wreck. I didn't know what to expect, but I accept that I was going to talk in front of all these new people. And you're going through your head. There's 1,000 things going through your head, wondering like, oh, how's this going to work out, and all that. So it was pretty. It was just a reminder, and I just wanted to kind of just share that with them. And then I said to them that, but by the end of the workshop, when we all had a moment to share what our takeaway was, that's when I remember at first thinking it in my mind that I was always going to start a podcast. And on that day, we completed the workshop. I remember just voicing it out loud and said, I'm going to start a podcast. And a year later, I started that podcast. And today, I still continue to do so. It's not Diary of a CEO like yet. It hasn't exploded to that, to so many viewers and that, but that's okay. One day it'll be big just in my way, and I'll be able to at least pass on what I get to learn through my journey and experiences of what that's like. So what also turned out to be pretty amazing on that day when I shared that story with them was that there were two actual guests who had joined me on that podcast show, and one other that's actually joining me next week. And I got them to stand up and just to kind of show everyone that this is exactly what happened when I attended one of these. It led up to doing a podcast, and today, you know, with the results of having these guys in here before you, means that anything's possible. And that's kind of what Speechcraft did for me, to step out of my comfort zone, and then starting up a podcast. Even that was really, really, really difficult to get into. But now that I'm on that track of continuing to produce shows, I love it. I love that I got to experience all that I did through Toastmasters. So just wanted to just talk about that for a little bit because that was part of the highlights for this week. And so I guess what we've covered is pretty much what it feels like when you've got low views throughout the week of a video that you may have produced, and how do you take control of your mind? What would help? Some of the things that I mentioned was like self-help books. Two of the books I mentioned by Jim Quick, who wrote the book Limitless, and Jay Shetty, who wrote the book Think Like a Monk. I highly recommend those two books to look into. You don't have to read it overnight and complete the whole thing. Just 10 minutes of reading each night is enough, more than enough. And then just, write down some of the things you can take away from it, some of the things that you can start implementing into your life and changing. It's not about changing everything in one hit, it's about changing one thing at a time. And like I always write in my journal each and every morning, it's all about one step, one day at a time. And over time, you gradually get to improve uh, your own mental state, physical, and your soul, delayed gratification. Never forget that. Be grateful for the small things you have. Be grateful for the many things you have. Be grateful for the body that you get the opportunity to experience what the day will be like, and all your limbs. Because, there are people out there who probably are missing limbs, but they're probably living life to the fullest more than you are. So, and then I suppose to wind it all up would be that if you ever want to improve public speaking, something to look into is Toastmasters Club. There's so many worldwide, and you can check them out also on YouTube. One of the guys has his own channel. I forgot his name off the top of my head. I do apologize, but yeah, he shares a lot of insights about it, and it's a great experience to actually even go to one of the clubs, meet new people, network. You also get to just level up as a public speaker, and the better you get, and the interaction you get with the club members, the feedback helps you to go home and just tweak a few areas that you need to. I mean, there's so many different techniques and steps of how to improve your speeches. It leads to you probably being asked to uh, as a keynote speaker at some event. So over time, I think it's one of the most coolest skills you could learn is become a public speaker and be awesome at it, be cool. Me, I'd rather be cool at it because it's about inspiring the younger generation. And, that's all I want to do is help inspire the younger generation. I know they want all the flash things and that. Then maybe I'm not for them, but there are some out there that I believe, you start with the simple things first, and over time, you gradually get to develop a growth mindset that leads towards wanting to continue your growth, learning new skills, learning to negotiate, learning all these things that involves communicating well. So that's kind of what the week was like, and I thought I'd just quickly jump on air. This is the last minute thing that I always keep doing all the time. So, I mean, if you're watching this on replay, leave a comment down below. What your struggles were like when you first had some low views, or if you've experienced it, or even if you haven't experienced it, what would be some of your feedback to me so that I can kind of improve throughout my journey? Because since I'm on this ship, I ain't getting off anytime soon. That's for sure. I'm gonna keep going until whatever the destination I feel like it's time to get off, then so be it. But right now, I'm sticking to that ride until I can continue to help make a difference in reaching out to one person, one step, one day at a time. So until my next one, stay cool.